with Dr. Ninja Turtle. We are live. Let me get myself together here because at the last second I decided to change a little bit. And so I should have this pinned comment here that talks about, have you ever looked at a growth mindset book? And so throughout my wealth building journey, I have looked at various different books. I listened to audiobooks while I was working because I always feel like you should be multitasking. So during my 3 hours of commuting into DC, I've always listened to like audiobooks or I converted research articles into audio text. There was some software back when you could do that. And I would listen to research articles while I was commuting. So that's when I learned about this book called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, which is what I want to talk about today. And so I don't know, it looks sort of dark. I've got my ring light on. However, I guess it looks good on I'm looking at my camera on my phone, and then I'm looking at the YouTube Studio, right? And thank you to whoever taught me how to use YouTube Studio. And YouTube Studio looks fine. I just look dark on the phone. So, hi CL Fantasy Waves. And Julie, happy on Monday. Thank you so much for coming. Julie is a large YouTube creator, and so I'm just always honored every time she comes to my little tiny YouTube channel. But I want to get into this, and we're going to get started because what I want to talk about is I want to give you an overview first of the book. Because in my notes, I had some points that I wanted to make sure I get to today because I always ramble and go off to the side. I want to get to some core points of the book, but I realized I didn't have the overview of the book. So I need to give you the context of the book. And so I'm going to read that right quick, and then I'm going to get right into the different points that I want to share of the book. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by Harv Eker. It outlines 17 wealth files that contrast the mindset of rich people with the poor or middle class individuals focusing on reprogramming one's subconscious money blueprint to think, act, and ultimately succeed like the wealthy. The core premise is that changing your inner mental programming leads to external financial success. And the reason that I'm talking about that book today is because it popped up in my mind during the week. And now you can talk all you want about whether subconscious or subconscious doesn't work. I believe it works. I used to listen to CDs way back in the day that had ocean waves, and you would listen to them all night long while you were sleeping, and they had subliminal messages. Now, I don't know if it works. I just believed in it. And so this book, I believe, really changed my financial life. And whether anyone else believes in reprogramming your mind, and what he calls it is rewiring. Because I will tell you, my financial blueprint, and of course I have sniffles because it's allergy season, so excuse me for a second. And so what I was talking about was the blueprint. Think about your financial blueprint. And I need to look at the chat and say hi to everybody. Hi, Julie Jordan Scott. Hi, Mike's Adventure Sparks. Dr. Sev Talks Money. Thank you for coming by, Dr. Sev. And Andy, of course, is here, and Wayne from Fairbrick Studios. So thank you all for coming. So we're talking about your financial blueprint. And this is where the book really had me and got me started. I thought about my financial blueprint, and what he's talking about is, what were you taught as a child growing up about money? Or what were your money beliefs? That's your financial blueprint. And we're trying to change that. So I grew up without a lot of money. Every time I got money, I spent it immediately. Maybe because I didn't know if I was ever going to have any more money. And so my financial blueprint was you get a paycheck, you spend a paycheck. There was no saving for a rainy day. I wasn't taught any of that growing up. I wasn't taught to invest growing up. So that was my financial blueprint. So I'm asking you to think about your financial blueprint. And so that's where this book comes in. And so I had to, over the years, but I really believe that this book had a big impact on me, change my thinking to think like a millionaire. Because when he said financial secrets, the secrets of, let's what is this called? Hold on. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, right? I wanted my mind to think like a millionaire. My mind always thought like the person that I grew up, very poor, not much money. And so until I could change my mindset about finances and about my finances and what's possible for me. See, I thought, well, I'm the homeless guy, I'm the poor guy. I don't deserve wealth. Well, this book and books like this changed my mindset. So no matter how much money you have, and this is a core premise of my channel, no matter where you start financially, start from where you are. Like me, I started from where I was, and I learned. I learned how to invest. I learned what the stock market was. I learned what mutual funds were. None of these things was I taught growing up. So I listened to different mindset books that said, you can be wealthy too. Other people have done it. Other people have built massive fortunes. Now, I'm not building a massive fortune. However, I am much better off today than I was. And so one example from me, as we go off to the left, everybody knows Daryl's never sticking to the script. As we go off to the left, I had one rental property. I knew nothing about getting more rental properties than the one. And so for many, many years, I only had one rental property until one day I learned how you move to 2 rental properties, then 3 rental properties. Then someone taught me how you use a paid off rental property as collateral to buy more rental properties. I had to learn, and that's what this book taught me. It taught me how to rewire my mindset and not think that I can only have one. All I deserve is one rental property. No, millionaires think, how can I have 10 rental properties, 100 rental properties? I have friends that have 1,000 rental properties. And they teach me. So I don't have 1,000 rental properties, but I know people who do. And they have that millionaire mindset. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm looking over here at the chat again, and I like that everyone is chatting. Make sure you can type fire in the chat and other people can come to your channel. Hi, Key. Out with Key is here. So, Key, I am coming to Charlotte in April. So I forget where everybody is in the YouTube world, However, I am traveling in April. And so I'm just going to meet as many people as I can. I already have friends that I'm going to visit, but if I can meet more people, I'm going to meet more people. And so, anyway, we're talking about secrets of the millionaire mind. And I think right now, I wanted to wait until I got into this and before I get into my actual talking points, which I'm only going to have 4 because I can't get through more than 4 in an hour, right? He has 17 wealth files in the book. And this is why I think that you should try and find the free audiobook. It may be in my playlist of financial audiobooks, maybe on YouTube. So check to see if there's a free copy of this book in my YouTube playlist. But also you can get it free from your library. But before I get into the 4 of the 17, because I said there's no way I can get through 17, points in an hour. I can't even get through 3, the way I go off the rails. So I said, pick the top 4 and just focus on that. However, at this time, we are going to have a moment of silence because we lost a dear friend this week in the YouTube community. And so just for about 1 minute, I'm going to have a moment of silence for Deb, who we lost this week. And I was waiting a few minutes into the live so that more people could come in and not sort of do it in the first minute of the live. So we're just going to say a prayer. I'm going to say a prayer for Deb and Doron. And we're just going to take out 1 minute. So we're just going to have a minute of silence. I'm not sure if that was a minute, but I tried to wait a minute, so we're not sure. However, we had our moment of silence. Deb, I got to meet you in January when I went to Maui, and you were gone way too soon, and I miss you. And so I feel very blessed that I was able to meet you in person. And so that's one of the themes that we're going to talk about today is living life to the fullest. If you want to get out and see your friends, get out and see your friends. Don't wait. Don't put it off. And that's one of the things that financial freedom allows me in retirement is to get out and see my friends. So it's not always about the money. It's about the connections that you have with people. So I'm going to get into this, my 4 points with the book. But one of the things that it says is if your income hasn't changed, then your mindset hasn't changed. And it's not that you have to make a ton of money. You could increase your income by lowering your bills. That increases the amount of money you actually have. So it's not always, because there are people on fixed incomes, and we need to recognize that. A lot of times on YouTube, people say, oh, well, you should just go out and get a side hustle, or you should just go out and get a better job, or go ask your boss for a promotion. All of those different things are things that some people can do, but not other people. Every time I thought about going to ask my boss for a raise in my last 9 to 5, they threatened to fire me. Well, I can't afford to be fired. So that was not an option for me. So I don't want anybody to feel under pressure that they have to go and do something that threatens their livelihood. But just know that there are multiple ways to play offense and defense to get you to your future financial freedom. Just know that. So I'm going to ask a question. How many people, and you can answer this in the chat, how many people feel financially stuck? Because I'm going to admit, I have been financially stuck recently. I spent a lot of money in the past 6 months, and I'm just starting to come out of it. And so you'll see this in my end of month financial video for March. And I'll give you a little quick preview because I haven't made the video yet. But I made $11,000 in the month of March. I spent on me $900. That's less than 10%. The other 93% or so went to pay down debt. So I'm starting to turn the ship around. Now, I'm not going to make $11,000 anymore this year, right? That was a one-time, very blessed month. However, my point is I have friends that helped me look at my finances and say, Daryl, what do you expect to make normally for the rest of the year? And what you're going to do is you're going to put a third of that money on this, you're going to put a third on this, and you're going to put a third on this. So I have been financially stuck, even though I'm financially free. Nobody is immune to being financially stuck. That's what I'm trying to share with everybody. And so, hi Wayne, are you back? I'm not sure if Wayne went. And Keisha from Just Asking for a Friend is here. Hi Keisha, great to see you. Thank you for coming in. We are talking about secrets of the millionaire mind. And I'm going to just hit on 4 points. And so, coming from my childhood where I did not have any financial teaching or training or preparedness at all, did not know how to balance a checkbook, still don't know how to balance a checkbook. I can get close, but I am not balancing to the penny. Okay, it's just too much. And so, I will tell you, I had no idea when I was 18 years old how to pay rent. I was just thrown out there and said, good luck. And people are different today. Lisa J. Stocks has a daughter, and she is preparing her daughter on how to live life. And I was just not taught that. And so I'm so happy when I see people teaching their children about the stock market, or opening up stock accounts, or showing their children what a Roth account is and helping their children build their Roth. Just because I didn't have it doesn't mean I'm not very joyful that other people have these things, or with their children are teaching their children. So, and Julie Jordan Scott says that she's feeling less financially stuck than she used to. And so I have friends that help me with my finances today even. We are like a peer group where we come together and we help each other with ideas that we didn't think of. So one of the things that my friends helped me with is I was putting one of my teaching incomes into a Roth. And so 2 other teaching incomes I was bringing home to help me pay down the debt. So in my mind, I said, well, I'm investing and I'm paying down debt, right? What can be better? Well, the idea that they came up with is, for my peace of mind, I need to just pause putting money in the Roth and bring that money home and pay down my debt. And I agreed, but I didn't think of that. They did. And that's what I wanted to share with you, is that if you have a core group of peers that will help you elevate to another level, that is part of the rewiring to get to the millionaire mind. So I'm not going to say rich versus poor, because I think that's offensive. That's just personally. I am going to say, if you want to build wealth, as opposed to just be rich, because there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. And so I think I've talked about that in another live, but I will talk about that again, maybe in a video. The difference between being rich and being wealthy. And so I am here to build wealth. I'm not here to be rich. Anybody can be rich. You can have a high income and be rich. But passing down generational wealth, which is not only passing down the money, it's passing down the knowledge, like Lisa J. Stocks is doing with her daughter. You can give your children or grandchildren a boatload of money, and they'll blow it. You know, there are wealthy families in America who 10 generations later still have the money that their original folks gave them. There are other wealthy families in America where all the money got spent. And so there's a place in Asheville that's a tourist attraction. And I'm going to go back there. I've been there once. But that is one of the wealthiest families in America. And now one of their homes, and it's like a 600 bedroom home. It's just huge. It's a big old castle thing in Asheville, North Carolina. But anyway, the point is that they have tourists coming through it, and that's how they're sustaining that home. Now, maybe it's only 60 bedrooms, not 600. I exaggerated. So anyway, the point is that you can have generational wealth, but if you do not teach the next generation, eventually the money goes. And I think I heard on the Money Guy show that within 3 generations, whatever you left in an inheritance is gone. So please teach your children. So, but also teach yourself, which is what I had to learn in my money blueprint. So what the book says is that you don't get what you want. You get what you're programmed for. So I had to reprogram myself to say, no, I don't have a lot of money right now. And yes, I only have one rental right now. But what can I do with what I have to build future wealth? And that's what I'm asking you. What can you do right now with what you have to build the future and dreams that you want in your life, whatever that looks like? And so me, I am obsessive, and you could say compulsive. So all these years, I have always said I need a side hustle. I need a second job. I need to work 7 days a week. Because in my mind, while other people are watching football games on Sundays, I'm working on Sundays because I'm trying to get ahead. Crazy thinking, but my mind is that I can get ahead if I'm working while other people are playing. But it worked for me. So I have a lot of crazy thoughts, but they worked for me. And so that's why I don't watch sports or anything like that, because I've always felt that I need to be working to try to get ahead while other people are playing. And so now you guys are really getting to see the inner workings of my mind. So it talks about the first one is ownership. If you own your life and you say to yourself, I am going to create my life, not have someone else create my life. And I'm going to say this. Have you guys ever heard people talk about, well, they're holding me down or they're treating me poorly? Yes, that stuff happens. No doubt, that stuff happens. But what can I do? See, when I was demoted at work and they demoted me down 3 pay grades so that I could not apply for a manager's position or an assistant manager's position anymore because I was at too low of a pay grade, they essentially shut down my career. I asked myself, what can I do? Well, they can't stop me from going to college. They can't stop me from working a second job on the weekends. I took control and ownership of my life, even though life circumstances are sometimes not fair. And so I just want to mention that to all of you out there. Life isn't fair. People are not going to treat you perfectly. You have to control the controllables, which is what's inside your hula hoop. Everything outside your hula hoop, you have no control over. The macroeconomy. I loan money to people with my retirement account, and the interest rates went up. And I mean, the interest rates shot up and ruined their business. Well, there went my retirement account. Wasn't their fault. It was the macroeconomy. So life happens. Take ownership of your life. So let's talk about if you are either blaming someone else or are you taking ownership. Let's talk about that in the chat. So I am going to look. Now this, I thought I pinned this comment, and let me see. No, it's pinned. It's just showing at the bottom of my screen, which I thought it would be at the top. But you never know how YouTube changes things. So, and so I'm going, oh, Lisa J. Stocks is here. I didn't think she was here. So I was talking about Lisa and how she is teaching her daughter and helping her daughter start off a fabulous life by investing young. Because believe me, if you're young, invest when you're young. Don't wait till you're old like me and start investing in your 40s and have to make things up in your 50s and 60s. So start when you're young. Teach your children when you're young. And so anyway, I was talking about Lisa, but that's because she's just doing it correctly, you know, which I wish my parents had done, but my parents did the best they could with what they knew. And so that's what we have to realize is our money blueprint is what it is. Now it's time to rewire it. And this book really helped me. So I had to take ownership, even though life wasn't fair. Wealth file number 2 that I'm going to talk about. I can't believe I'm staying on track. And it's 27 minutes and I'm on wealth number 2 out of 4. I can't believe this is our first week, everybody, of staying on track and me not going off the rails with my stories. The old professor guy just has stories. So, number 2, play to win. Right? A lot of people play it safe. It's in human nature that you want to avoid pain more than you want to have pleasure. We are just wired that way, to avoid pain. And that's not how millionaires think. They don't think, I'll take my money, I'll put it in a bank account giving me 0.01%, where my money is safe, right? It's guaranteed by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, right? My money's safe. Millionaires don't think that way. They think, how can I play to win, but also do it in a responsible manner? So my first rental property, when I bought it with the thought that even if there was no renter in it, I could make the payment out of my paycheck. So I started small, and I started a little bit safe, but I took a risk. I bought a building where the roof was bowing in, right? It needed a new roof. It needed all kinds of renovations. I knew nothing about a roof. I knew nothing about renovations. But I knew that I needed that as a house hack in order to build future wealth. So what did I do? I got outside and I painted this whole big old huge building by hand, by myself. It took me all summer, but I did it because I had no other options. And that started me on the path to build wealth. So I could have played it safe and said, well, it's a building with the roof bowing in. I can't fix that. No, I called a contractor and said, how do we fix this? And so they jacked up the middle of this big building, right? And because we were in Vermont, they took a piece of marble and they put it in between the wood that's holding up the building. This post that's holding up the building has a piece of marble. 20-something years later, that piece of marble is still in the wood holding up that building. That's Vermont for you. But this is what I'm saying is you play to win. So this is the fear mindset as opposed to the growth mindset. And again, when I started out in college, I only wanted to pass one class. I never thought, see, this was not a growth mindset. I never thought at that time I was going to get an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, a PhD. None of that. I said, let me pass one class. My growth mindset came later, but you have to start somewhere. So start from where you are and build slowly. If you have to go slowly like the turtle, go slowly. If you can afford to go fast, go fast. Some people have a lot of money, they can go fast. I built slowly over the years. So I'm going to look at the chat because I never look at the chat and I need to look at the chat. So Katrina is here. I'm not sure if I know Katrina. Oh, Trina. Trina is here from Hippies, Puppies, Kittens, and Budgets. And she is also in Alabama. And so I am adding Trina as a standard moderator so that she can click on other channels. And Manjaro Journey with Pam, thank you so much for coming. Boy, I am meeting new friends. I am meeting new friends here, and which is fabulous. If you type fire in the chat, it will put your channel out there. So please, everybody do that and get everybody to come to your channel. Oh, I see where you've seen me, Manjaro Journey with Pam. Thank you so much. Yes, Kendi K got me started doing the lives because she had me do an interview on her channel. Again, fear mindset on YouTube. When I started on YouTube, I didn't ever think I would go live. And so some friends of mine said, you should go live or you should do an interview. And I said, well, I can't talk in front of people. And so I did the interview with Kendi K. And then I said, well, I'll wait till I get 500 subscribers and then I'll go live. Because I never thought I would get to 500 subscribers. And now I'm over 1,000 subscribers. Growth mindset. And my point is that you don't automatically get a growth mindset in every area of your life. It comes over time. So like the book says, start rewiring your mind to think like a millionaire. I often talk about the book Quit Like a Millionaire, which is in my playlist. It's also, you can find it for free all over YouTube. But that is another book that gave me a mindset that anything is possible. You know, these two folks up in Canada, 30 years old, quit working for the rest of their life. And I tell my grandchildren, you don't have to work till you're 60. If you do it correctly, you can quit when you're 30. You can quit when you're 40. There are a lot of people on this channel right now in this live that are going to retire early, if they have not already retired. Because they are doing the things and taking ownership of their life and doing what they need to do in their life, whatever that looks like. They're paying off their home. They're investing in stocks. They're doing what they need to do to retire early for them. For me, I did it through real estate. I also did it through my side hustle of teaching in colleges. And so everybody cannot go and teach in colleges, but everybody can run a YouTube channel. And you can make a lot of money on a YouTube channel. There are people here that are in this live that make a lot of money on their YouTube channel. So if they can do it, we all can do it. And we all know my purpose of being here, which is to donate to the homeless. I had to have a purpose for doing YouTube, which is what they taught me when I was getting my PhD. They said, have a topic that when things get rough, you have a passion for that topic to carry you through the rough times. Because anyone who's gotten a PhD knows it's like running the gauntlet. You don't just get a PhD. No. It's an obstacle course that they put you through to keep out everybody else. And you have to make it through the obstacle course. And so people just don't realize that. But when you start to get through the obstacle course and you get to a point where you're writing your dissertation and you say, you know what? I've made it through most of the obstacles. I can make it through the rest of the obstacles. So everybody isn't retiring early using the same strategy. Use the strategy that works for you. And I see it. I watch people on YouTube with various different wealth building strategies. And I say, I need to think like that person. And I need to pay my debt down like that person. And I need to invest in the stock market like that person. So watch other people and just pick up little bits and pieces and see what works for you. So I'm going to talk just a second about Lisa J. Stocks because she talks about fractional shares and how you can invest $5 or $10 in a mutual fund or a single stock, whatever it is that you feel safe and comfortable doing. I'm not a big single stock person. I'm more of a S&P 500 person. However, I don't do fractional shares except that I have a Vanguard account that allows fractional share buying for any of Vanguard's funds. See, so I do actually have the ability to do fractional shares within Vanguard. And Vanguard has enough different funds that I can still do my fractional buying. So I could put in $5, $10. But typically, I try to wait until I have $250 and just buy one single share of an ETF. And I sort of may do it as like a birthday present for myself. I make it fun. I make it fun in that it's a reward for something else. If I pay down some debt, well, now I get to buy myself this stock over here or this ETF. So I try to gamify my wealth building. And I'm going to throw that out as a suggestion. You might gamify your savings. For example, putting in the extra change just to round up to the next dollar when you're putting money into your high yield savings account, just round it up to the next dollar. All of that adds up over time. So I play games with my money. And so that I'm just throwing that out there. I wasn't planning on saying that, but we all know me. I'm saying everything I wasn't planning on saying. So that was our number 2, right? How many people think that they have a growth mindset? Put that in the chat. And I'm going to look for that. Oh, Lala, the high vibe coach. Hi, Lala. Thank you for coming by. Give me 2 seconds here, Lala. I'm jumping over to my thing. I thought that you were already a moderator, because I could have sworn that you were. And so anyway, if any of this information from this live is starting to change your life, even just a little bit, please like and subscribe. I have a 4,000 watch hour playlist. If you can just let that run on a backup device to help me get to my 4,000 hours, I don't have as many hours as I thought I had. I thought I had a bunch, but I was looking at the wrong analytics. Because I'm an old guy and I know nothing about YouTube analytics, I was looking and adding from the wrong column. So I need watch hours. I'll just throw that out there. And as soon as I get monetized, after I put aside money for taxes, which all YouTubers should do, all the proceeds go to the homeless. I take nothing because I don't need your money. That's why we don't have memberships. I don't need YouTube's money. But coming from being homeless, I do want to help the homeless in my community. So community service right here. So we're going to take a station break. I've never done a station break before, but Lisa J. Stocks has station breaks built into her Nightbot on her channel. I'm not that sophisticated yet, but I'm taking a station break only because my mind said, talk about this other YouTube channel. And now I can't remember the name of it, but it has to do with hats. And they make hats for the homeless. And so I'm going to put them in the description after I finish this live, because I was just watching them yesterday. And I was watching their playlist to get them more watch hours. And so what this guy does, and I'm not sure, I think it's a guy and his wife. But anyway, what the guy does is he goes live and he's making hats in one of those knitting loops. And they make hats for the homeless. And oh, the name of the channel, I got it now, is Hats on a Mission. And so that touches my heart. And Julie at Happy on Monday, she has a merch store where all the proceeds from her merch go to help stop human trafficking. These are the people that touch my heart. See, because they're doing something to make the world a better place. So this is not all about I need to be rich. No, it's how can I be financially free and do good in the world. So no matter how much money I have left over, when all is said and done, the money is going to charity. When all is said and done. Now, am I going to spend what I can while I'm here? Absolutely. Because I believe in the book Die with Zero. Not that I'm dying with exactly zero, but I'm going to have a good time. You know, when I go, I'm skidding in. Like sliding into home plate. That's how I'm going. So let's get through to number 3, because we are going to get to all 4. If you guys don't believe this, we've never done this before, got to all the points. Wealth file number 3 is opportunities. And so your brain focuses on what you look for. If you look for opportunities everywhere in your life, it's like when I say that an attitude of gratitude, it's the same thing. I am grateful every day. I can look out my window and see a bird and be grateful for the sounds that that bird is making. So look for opportunities. This is what millionaires do. They look for opportunities. Now, I will tell you, I don't have memberships on my channel. Other channels have memberships. They have all this stuff. Fabulous. I love it. I am not anti-membership for everyone else. Those are opportunities. Take every opportunity YouTube gives you to make more money. Stack your YouTube income. Do DoorDash, do Uber driving, and record some of it and put it out on your YouTube channel. So you're not only making money one way, you're making money another way. And then you take that money that you make from YouTube and invest it in the stock market. Now your money is working triple. This is what I'm talking about, opportunities. People who are going to stay middle class or are not going to build wealth, all they see are obstacles. Well, what if this happens? Well, I'm not going to do anything because I'm going to wait until the world changes and becomes perfect. See, there are a lot of new real estate investors who are looking for the perfect rental property investment. And because the perfect rental property investment doesn't exist, they never buy anything. Because it has to cash flow this. I have to be able to get a bank to give me this interest rate. The world is never going to be perfect. I bought properties, excuse me, I bought properties in 2025 at an 8% interest rate. That is high. I'm waiting for interest rates to come down so that I can refinance the properties, pull cash out, and maybe use that cash to pay down debt. That's what I'm waiting on later this year. And that's what we hope. We don't know. And if interest rates don't come down this year, excuse me again, I see the opportunity that in 2027, the interest rates will come down. Someday, they will come down, and someday I will refinance these properties and I will pull cash out. Because this is my latest thing, is I have a lot of equity in my rental properties, but it's locked in there. I need to learn how to pull some of my equity out of these rental properties that I have. Again, don't see obstacles, see opportunities. That is a big thing. You know, when I was listening to this audiobook, I had to tell myself, Daryl, there's obstacles all around you. You have coworkers trying to sandbag you so that they can move up. You have bosses not wanting you to be more educated than them. And so they're offended that you're going to college while they're out doing barbecues. So don't see obstacles, see opportunities. Again, YouTube is one of the biggest opportunities that I didn't have in my younger days. But if you're on YouTube and you're a YouTube creator, you make as much money off of YouTube as you possibly can, from any which way you can. That's my preaching for today. Okay, sermon over. I believe in wealth. So is there, I'm going to ask this question for the chat, is there an opportunity that you see in your life today that you're sleeping on? We'll see if anybody puts anything in the chat while I go on to the next point. But is there an opportunity that you see where you could either pay down more debt or you could increase your income, and maybe you can increase your passive income by changing what you're invested in? It doesn't have to be that you go out and do a physical job. There are passive ways to increase that gap between your income and your expenses. You want to lower your expenses. Like me, spend less than 10% of what you have coming in, lower your expenses, and increase your income. Now, my income is variable because it depends on how many classes colleges give me. But I was just given a class yesterday or the day before for the summer. So now I can count on a little more income. And I will tell you, side trip, how much time? 47 minutes. We got time. Side trip. I am blessed in that I have two different colleges that pay every 2 weeks, but they pay on opposite 2 weeks. So when I have the whole thing cranking in the middle of the summer, I will be getting a paycheck each week. Every Thursday, then every Friday, then every Thursday, then every Friday. What am I doing with that money? I can already tell you right now, in March, where that money is going in June. That is the millionaire mind. Already tell your money where to go before your money ever even gets here. Look for opportunities before they ever even come up. So I will be paying down debt with that money as soon as it comes in. And you all know me, I will still be trying to live on just my pension, my $900 a month pension. Now, another little teaser, I went tiny bit over my $900 pension. So you'll see that in my March end of month because of my puppy. My puppy is always my kryptonite, right? I will always go over budget with my puppy. So, and it happened again. So, and I don't care. Okay, my puppy, no spending limit on my puppy. So I'm going to read a little bit of the chat. And CL Fantasy Wave says, I'm saving up to get all the licenses I need, all the licenses needed to be able to sell my art. Fabulous art. Please go watch her channel. You know, and I think she is somewhere near me. I'm just not sure. But I learned where people are generally in the US, not like their specific town or zip code or anything like that. But maybe they're in the South. Maybe they're in Florida. You know, I look and I said, well, this person's in North Carolina, right? At least I know what state they're in. And I say, someday I want to go and take that person to lunch. Big deal for me, taking people to lunch, because people used to feed me. So it's very important that I pass it on. So it's just a big deal for me. I just want to buy you lunch. So let's get to number 4. We're actually getting through the 4 points today within the hour. There we go. Even though I did take side trips. And I'm tearing up just a little bit because I'm thinking about how people used to feed me. And so I just never want to forget that. So let's go to wealth file number 4 is think both. Don't think if I win, they lose. Think win-win. How can I win and other people benefit? See, I own real estate, which is providing housing for a lot of people. I also had to learn I'm not a good real estate manager. Okay? Because when the renters say I can't pay the rent, I'm like, okay. Well, that's not a business. That's basically saying I'm funding their life, which I was in the beginning. That's just who I am. And what I had to learn was this is a business, and if you don't know how to run this business, let someone else run this business. So my property management company runs my rentals because they do the business. Now, of course, they're getting profit from me for running the business, so it's a win-win. And so you want to expand your mindset to not think of scarcity, but start thinking of abundance. There is plenty of money coming into YouTube for every YouTube creator. It's not that, well, if so-and-so is making money, that's taking profit away from me, even if we're in the same niche. No, abundance thinking is there's enough money for everyone. There is enough money out there for everyone. You know, however many rentals I have, my friends who have 1,000 rental properties, all these massive apartment complexes that they own, they're still making money. You know, there are people I don't know, like one guy I watch, Ken McElroy, he's a billionaire. He has, I think, 10,000 apartments, right? And that will make you a billionaire. But because he's making money does not mean my few rental properties that I have are not making money. Abundance mindset. The last thing I'm going to share on that is that you have to know when it's enough. I could try to get 10,000 apartment units, but I don't want that kind of stress. I don't want the kind of lawsuits. I don't want whatever goes on with that. I have enough. And what I mean by that is I have enough to fund my early retirement and for me to go fishing on the side of the road like I talked about last week, and that's all I want to do. I want to fish. I want to visit friends. I have enough. You can build wealth. It does not mean you have to have massive wealth or that you compare your wealth to someone else's wealth. It's whatever it looks like for you. Having your own land, living off the land, being able to go hunting and bring your food in from your own land. All of that is wealth. And all of that is a millionaire mindset, whether you have a million or don't have a million. It's about knowing what you want out of your life and going after what you want out of your life. And so I'm checking the time. So we have actually 6 minutes left, and I didn't run out of time. So one of the things that he's pointing out in this section is that the middle class think I have to have this or that. And the millionaire mindset is, why can't I have this and that? See, one of the things I learned early on when I was watching Bigger Pockets, which is a real estate, it's like Facebook for real estate people. It is our social media platform. And I'm on Bigger Pockets, and the co-host says, don't think about why I can't do that. Ask yourself, how can I do that? And so one of my friends this week, they said, Daryl, you're really good at moving chess pieces around to get more real estate. And yes, I will do this, buy that, duck under here, get over there to buy more real estate. They said, if your piece is important to you, stop moving the chess pieces. And that's what I'm doing. My peace of mind for the rest of my life, because we're losing a lot of people. I have a lot of friends that are having health issues. And we just lost Deb. We are losing a lot of people. I want peace. And I want contentment in my life. So I'm going to stop moving the chess pieces around and stop spending money. I'm just going to pay off my debt and enjoy the rest of my life. So we have to know when it's enough. And my life is changing even in early retirement. I've been early retired now for 6 years. So my life is changing even today. It's getting better and more abundance even today. And so if you think about where I started in early retirement with $300,000 in my investment accounts, in my retirement account, I've built from there. So start from wherever you are. That's the whole theme of my channel, is that we all start from where we are. Nobody got here knowing everything. But this is a fabulous book to give you that growth mindset so that you can expand your life to be whatever you dream for it to be and whatever you design your life to be. And that's why I call people on my channel owners, because they own their business, they own their life, they own their future. And it's all up to you. So whatever joy looks like for you, we're gonna end with that. Put in the chat, what does joy look like for you as you are getting older? This is Julie Jordan Scott's channel. I'm sort of stealing this. Joyfully aging. What does that look like for you? And so I had a thing which I can't find right now. It was supposed to be, well, I'm just going to ask it. I was supposed to put in this comment that said, which of these 4 points really rang a bell with you? So point number 1, let me get to these, is ownership mindset. I create my life. Point number 2, play to win, not to avoid losing. Point number 3, look for opportunities. Don't focus on obstacles. And number 4, think both. Not either or, but how can I get both? How can I have this and that? So I'm going to look at the chat here because I got a couple of minutes, actually a minute and a couple seconds. And so Julie Jordan Scott says that she creates her life very much aligned with herself. And that's what this is all about. Whatever your life looks like, CL Fantasy Waves, getting the licenses to sell her art. That's what life looks like. And that's the beauty and joy of YouTube, is that we are all able to do whatever we want to do on our YouTube channels. Hats on a mission, making hats for the homeless. Boy, you can't touch my heart more than that right there. So will I always support their channel? Absolutely. You know, there's another channel where I found this lady. She does really beautiful nails, right? She does fingernails. She does beautiful art on fingernails. But she also goes out and just gives money to the homeless out on the street. Or she goes through Walmart and gives gift cards to children of people at Walmart. She talks to the parents and she gives the little child a $10 Walmart gift card so that the child can buy a toy if the parents will allow the child to buy a toy. These kinds of things on YouTube are the things that I look at. See, that I would donate money to. So you guys know I don't spend my money, but if it's something to do with community service or helping other people to have a better life and to help the world. So that's going to be my ending, because my normal ending, which I never do, I never remember to say this, is never let your past determine your future. That's what I've said in all my beginning videos, and then I stopped saying it. But I'm going to end this video, this live, with charging you to go out and make the world a better place. Whatever that means in your community, I go to jails in my community. Make the world a better place. We didn't get to where we are without somebody blessing us. So bless others. That's my ending. So I'm going to end my live with that, and I ended almost on time. I want to thank everybody that came. Oh, is Mrs. G here? Hi, Mrs. G. Thank you for coming in. See, I'll just sit here and talk forever and thank everybody that came in, because I appreciate everybody. And please go watch my playlist if you haven't watched it on like a secondary device or anything, because I want those hours. I am going to donate money to the homeless someday. That's right. That's what I'm doing. So thank you all for coming to my live. I'm going to get off of here and wind down because I'm an introvert. So thank you all for coming, and I will see you all next week, same time, 10:15. And even though I'm traveling in April and I'll be in the Eastern time zone, it will still be at this same time, even though it'll say 11:15 Eastern time. It will still be at this same time every single Friday. Thank you all for holding me accountable and watching me on my debt payoff journey. Thank you again.